Got it. Sounds good. We'll check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. And the show starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie.
Hey, I like the effects there.
That's my official sound. Welcome, everyone. We are glad you are with us. It is Monday night. January is almost over. Wow.
Yes. yes.
You know, they say the older you get, the faster time goes by. And, you know, wouldn't it be nice if every once in a while it would be that they were wrong when they said that, those kinds of things? But they're always right.
Oh, yeah.
Must be conservatives that make those up because they're always right.
Yeah. I just turned 42, and it feels like last year just flew by.
You are freezing a little bit.
Love it.
Not as in the cold outside.
I was freezing earlier in the cold outside. Why don't you take off for a little bit, and I'll be right back. Let me see if I can't fix this.
All righty. Well, we are going to do our best tonight to stay on track. You know, it's kind of difficult sometimes when you're hosting a show like this to read where you should be. You know, so much of the news right now is just so negative. I'll just use that word. It's not really the right word, but I'll use that word. And, you know, you don't want to laugh and joke all the time when people are losing their lives and things are going on in the world. But part of life is that life goes on regardless of what is happening. You know, sometimes my hat, I should have brought some hats in here, and I should have said, this is my pastor hat. And this is my hat for hosting a show. This is my father hat and my grandfather hat. And you get my point. We all have different roles to play, and sometimes it's more difficult than others to play those roles. And so we'll try our best tonight to have a good mix. We'll try to, we'll just hope that tonight we are able to help you get through the next hour, because some days that's what it feels like. You just got to get through the next hour. We like the way this guy, he, you know, kind of the way he puts things.
Wake up, America. The rooster's been crowing and the sun is already high. It's time to open them ears and open that heart. Start listening to Ed and Ronnie, two fellas with a whole wagon load of sense, and watch their streams.
Whole wagon load of sense. And then there's this.
From the heart of America to the heart of DC, everyone likes Ed and Ronnie.
And even birds like us.
Hey there, yeah, I'm talking to you. Name's Clyde. I'm a Cardinal, obviously, but here's the thing. I am absolutely hooked on Ed and Ronnie's live streams. Can't help it. Every Tuesday, I plop down in this nest, seeds on standby, and tune in. They bring the truth like a tailwind.
So, Ronnie is back. And he is muted.
How about that? Can you hear me?
There you go.
Good deal.
we should be the
Yeah,
new.
my apologies. I had 4 videos that I wanted to get on here, and everything going on, I forgot. But I'm back. Even though
We should be the
there's
new
2 comments.
spokesman. We should be the new
Go ahead.
spokespeople for. Can you hear me now? I don't remember which cell phone company that was, but
Wasn't that Verizon? Can you hear me now?
I think it was. And I was with Verizon from about 2001 until about 2023. And finally, I had just had too much of their customer service being crappy. But then I go to another carrier, their customer service is crappy. I go to a third carrier, they're not quite as bad, at least yet. And so we could sit on here and we could complain for the next hour about customer service, but that wouldn't get us anywhere. So go ahead and talk a little bit, Ronnie. I want to hear if the lag is still there.
Wow. Why is Minnesota so difficult to spell? I am having no good at spelling today. I tell you one thing. And it keeps saying we've got 2 comments, but every time I click on it, it brings up nothing. Except the same 3 comments that I've seen. I don't get it. The devil get behind us today. I'm telling you right now.
In the name of Jesus. Always want to add that in there because we don't want to fight the devil alone. Never want to fight the devil alone.
No.
We want to always do the right thing. And so if you're on the other end, you can probably tell we're fighting to buy a little time here as we, sometimes things just aren't going the way we
Mary
would
said. Mary said we're not showing on Facebook, and I know it is janky for me. I don't know what is going on, and I really hope we have more than 3 viewers watching us. Unless that snow is just kicking everybody in the pants. Oh,
well,
now we got 4.
Well, let me.
Bill and Tanya's on Facebook. Michael Sisk, yes, we are doing just fine, staying safe. Mama got out yesterday. She got out again today. I had to go out, get that animal control van back downtown, and got in the old all-wheel drive terrain and had no issues with it. That van had no issues either, but there's 2,000 pounds of sand in the back too. we got to plow it. I got to play in the snow a little bit, so yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Well, I haven't talked to you since I was outside. I got to get you to jump my car or my Jeep. My Jeep battery is down. I was trying to start it from inside, trying to take the easy route, and I was going to start it because it's right outside our window. I was going to let it run and, kind of melt some of this snow off to where it would be easier, and the battery's dead. So,
hey, no problem. I got jumper cables and
oh,
the one thing is, about that GMC Terrain, I bought that thing and it's a little bit newer than what I'm used to, but man, it's got all kinds of plastic and stuff over the engine and the battery, and it was clean as a whistle when I popped the hood, but it's all got that, plastic coverings and stuff. And so how about that snow, everybody? Anybody enjoying it? Anybody? Crickets, I guess. These guys don't care for it either.
This place sucks. We should go somewhere else. Every other place sucks too. Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Remembers old Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, I tend to agree with them. The snow, it looks good for like 15 minutes, and then I'm tired of it and ready to go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Right.
guy that I watch around here that does weather, final total for, he had 14 and a half. Some people had 15. So we were right at 15 inches of snow here in good old Columbus, Indiana.
Bartholomew County Emergency Management agrees. We are at 14 to 14.5 with snow drifts in higher locations.
Now, your mom is probably busy and not able to tell this story, but being the wonderful person that she is, she was out yesterday taking an employee home, and she was also out to pick the 2 night shift employees up and bring them to work. When she was out west of town, Georgetown Road area, for those of you that are around here, it was still snowing at that point in time. Snow quit about 6 o'clock-ish, somewhere around there. And she dropped the girl off at her house, and on the way back, she scared herself to death almost. She hit a stretch that threw her off the road to the right. She was basically sliding down the road sideways. She was able to get it corrected, and then it went off to the other side of the road slightly and got it corrected back and was back on the road. She doesn't admit
those kind of roads. Those roads are not nice in, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a bright, sunny 72-degree day, much less at night with all the snow that we've had. So,
and it was still daylight, barely, but it was daylight, but you couldn't tell the road from the fields on each side of her. It was just there. She don't scare easily, but she, when she told me the story, she cried. She was so scared. And so those that know her well know that's not her personality. And so you'll have to ask her when you talk to her, when, if you want to fuss at her for being out in the bad weather. Her Jeep got her through, though. Her Jeep got her through. So we are happy about that. Now, we don't have an official segment, Ronnie, for Senator Kennedy. And I don't know if you have any Senator Kennedy tonight or not, but I do. However, it's not a humorous Senator Kennedy. This was him talking about the Right to Life March.
I'm John Kennedy, and I want to welcome the tens of thousands of pro-life Americans marching in Washington, D.C. today. Thanks for coming, especially those who traveled here from Louisiana. In Louisiana, we believe all life is precious. All life. Whether a person is 87 years old or 87 seconds old, everyone, all of us, we're made in the image of God. You don't need to be religious, like I am, to know this. All you have to do is watch a baby dance on an ultrasound, or hold a newborn in your arms, and you will know, not just in your head, but in your heart, that every single life is precious. Too many elected officials ignore this reality. They describe human beings as clumps of cells to justify barbaric practices, including abortion, up to the point of birth. But you know, and I know, the truth. And your fearless calls to defend those lives do not go unnoticed. So, thank you so much for standing strong against abortion. Thank you so much for standing strong for life. Please pray for our country, for our unborn babies, and for their courageous mothers. May God bless you all and keep you safe during this march for life.
Wow.
If he was younger, I think he would be a great candidate for president. I really do.
Yeah.
Uh,
I did not have a Kennedy-ism for today. All the ones that I keep finding are ones we've already seen, and we can keep watching those. I'm good with that. But I did find Bush-isms, and they're more sad than they are as funny as Kennedy-isms, because Kennedy knows when he's saying one of those isms, and he does it for comedic value, obviously, but also, but these Bush-isms, they're he didn't say it for comedic purposes. And if you would like me to play it, I'm trying. There it is. I found it, just for a wee bit of a laugh.
My State of the Union, or my speech to the nation, whatever you want to call it, speech to the nation.
It'll take time to restore chaos.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
This thought took a while to thaw. It's going to take a while to unthaw.
And find out that the literacy level of our children are appalling.
And ask, is our children learning? I know what I believe. I will continue to articulate what I believe. And what I believe, what I believe is right.
So what if the guy threw a shoe at me? A lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash. Fool me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again. You can't take the high horse and then claim the low road.
Now watch this drive. Just a one-finger victory salute.
Oh, I miss him.
well, you know what is comical to me is that when Bush was in office, Democrats hated him so much. And now that Trump has been introduced into the equation, they think Bush is a saint.
Well, I mean, even the Bushes were against Trump, in his first run. I don't remember his cousin or his brother running from Florida.
His brother.
And Trump his brother got into it there at one of the debates.
Yeah, and the other night, when you didn't feel good and I was on, I mentioned that actually lately, Jeb Bush, who is who you were referring to,
yes,
has been singing the praises of Donald Trump because the organization he works for has something to do with people in Iran. And he is singing the praises of Bush like you would have, or of Trump, like you would have never thought of Bush ever would. Ever, ever,
Wow.
ever.
Wow.
Well,
Oh boy.
the big elephant in the room, kind of standing there, we're looking at it and not going there yet, but we have to cover Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minneapolis. I think I probably share what a lot of people feel about Minneapolis, and that I'm sick to death of hearing about Minneapolis. Something has got to break, and we have to have adults who do more than throw insults back and forth. Antifa has showed up there, and they've basically taken over.
Yeah. They've created another autonomous zone as well.
They have, and I have something somewhere I saved. There's a section or two that the Minneapolis police won't go into. They've basically an autonomous zone, which they have basically taken over and made their own. They have blocked off streets, and that's what they did in Portland. You know, Portland has moved to Minneapolis, and now Antifa, and an organization, is organizing what's going on. Even if it's not Antifa, there are other elements that are coordinating everything that happens. They've got people, I mean, it's military caliber almost, Ronnie. They've got lookouts, they've got people watching the entries into the city, seeing who's coming from where, you know, their communications amongst each other. It's
I've actually got a video here. This guy's a liberal. He's explaining that he went out and bought his first AR-15, which good for him. I
actually played it. I actually played this the night you weren't here, but it's worth playing again.
Okay, is it the same one?
It is the same. It was from you, so it's the exact same one. But play it again. Play it again.
I'm generally a pretty liberal person, but when I saw videos of ICE jumping out of unmarked vehicles and nabbing people off the street, that's when I actually bought my first AR-15. So I'm pretty new to this, but you know, the Second Amendment's for all of us. And now I'm seeing videos of Black Panthers out in Minneapolis, you know, chasing down ICE and other police and stuff. I think that's what it's all about. You know, we're facing tyranny right now, and I want to be prepared for if that stuff comes to my neighborhood.
What have you sort of thought about it? I've seen the same videos you're talking about. I've seen some of the stuff in person that you're kind of talking about. I've seen some people on the right wing take issue when the left arms up.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the amendments to the Constitution are for everybody. You know, we're all American. We all have those rights, and we should all be using them. That's my opinion on it.
Now, real quick, briefly, he said, you know, he's seen people on the right take issue and people on the left arm up. I am not one of those. I am, however, one of those who take issue with this gentleman, who I'm assuming does not have any firearms, or this is his first run in with any sort of firearm. A lot of people, and even people on the right, still mess this up, and they go out and buy a $2,000 firearm with $0 in training, and they have $0 in knowledge or $0 in, you know, invested in learning how to use that firearm and operate that firearm safely. And with his statement, I saw ICE pulling up and pulling members off the street, or not members, but pulling individuals off the street, and that's why he decided to get an AR-15. To me, that's a threat.
Absolutely.
Law enforcement officers doing their jobs to remove rapists and drug dealers and murderers and criminals who are here illegally. And what does he think he's going to do? Play Superman and run out there with his brand new shiny AR-15? And, you know, people don't seem to understand one simple thing, and that's backdrop. You know, you could be shooting at your ICE agent, but who else are you going to hit? Or, you know, with zero training or zero knowledge, you know, what else could happen? You know, and this guy is in my estimation taking his firearm knowledge from people like this.
You'll no longer sell handguns that can be converted into semi-automatic machines able to fire 1,200 rounds a minute. Not here, not in New York.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Yeah, being converted into semi-automatic machines.
1,200 rounds a minute.
Yeah. What did this guy buy? An old blunderbuss pistol or something? It converted into a semi-automatic machine. Now, if people who are watching don't understand what that joke was about, all handguns are semi-automatic, and what that means is when you pull the trigger, it fires a round, and when you pull the trigger again, it fires another round. Now, I'm guessing what this scholar was trying to get at was fully automatic. Now, fully automatic is when you pull the trigger and it does not stop firing bullets until you release the trigger or the gun is out of ammunition. People who don't know what they're talking about should shut up and sit down. I can't count how many times people have gotten on, lawmakers or anything like that have gotten up and decided to talk about guns and, talking about their 1,200 round a minute clipazines and all this noise. And then all that does is promote people like that gentleman to go out and buy a gun because they saw ICE pulling up and ripping people off the streets.
Well, let me go back to that guy and how that relates to the man that was shot by ICE agents and killed, the latest one. If you were giving training and the person you were training got pulled over by the police, what would you tell them that the first thing you do, first interaction you do with law enforcement, what would that be?
Well, personally, and I've told people this before, my first thing is before the officer's even out of the vehicle, I put my hands on the steering wheel or on the dash. Then once they approach, and this is not law in Indiana, at least, you do not have to, but I would like to inform them I have a legally concealed firearm. That's for their safety and mine. That way nobody gets jumpy. And I hand them my license and registration, and my hands do not leave the steering wheel for the entirety of the traffic stop. Now, a lot of people are saying that this gentleman was carrying a firearm legally. He had a concealed carry permit, and that is correct. He had every right to carry that firearm. To my knowledge, he didn't have any felonies or protective orders or anything. However, in the incident itself, when he was engaging with law enforcement, he did not tell them, to my knowledge, that he had a firearm. And the thing is he grabbed it. It's on video. He grabbed it. What was he trying to do? Think about it. Was he going to pull it out of his holster and hand it to him? Was he going to pull it out of his holster and set it down on the ground? Was he trying to pull it out and hand it to one of them during the fight? We all know what his intentions were. There was no other logical reason.
No.
But
I know that
the whole point. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I know the left would say we don't know what his intent was, and
a good defense attorney would do the same.
But let's turn it around. If you are the law enforcement officers and you see a weapon for somebody that is already breaking the law, what would you assume? You see,
the whole world has an option to sit around and Monday morning quarterback this when those officers had a fraction of a microsecond to make a decision.
Yep.
So, what would I assume? I wasn't assumed that it was a water gun. I wouldn't assume that it shot flowers and rainbows. I wasn't assuming that he was going to put it down.
Would you have waited until he aimed it at you?
No, because at that point you've already lost. If a person is able to pull up a firearm and point it at you, they've already got the jump on you. Because all they do have to do is pull the trigger when you have to unholster, pull up, and draw and aim. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, here's what I think. Antifa is backing things now, coordinating things. It's like a military operation. You know, they're not good military, but military as in it's organized, no matter how poorly organized it is. And they're back calling shots to people like the two that lost their lives, and they're not out there losing their life. The people that they're protesting for, they're not out there losing their lives. So this kind of tells me that Antifa is looking for a fight. The people that they're protesting for are looking for somebody to take up for them, and nobody is willing to go out except sending a lot of white liberals out into the streets. Now, Antifa is a lot of white liberals for the most part. And we started this off with something has got to be done to cool the volcano that is going on there, that is erupting, and the lava is already flowing. And, you know, I seen today that Waltz reached out to Trump, and I seen later on he was making fun of him and bad-mouthing him. I'm not quite sure how that works, and vice versa. You know, forget all of the name calling. Everybody, forget all of the name calling, and let's get peace in Minneapolis. I told somebody the other day, here's my thought. Nobody listens, nobody asks, but here's my thought. What if Trump proposed that he would pull all of the excess ICE agents that he sent to Minneapolis, take it back down to the normal amount of agents that would be in Minneapolis, as long as governor, mayor, and we've not talked much about Attorney General Ellison, who may be the worst of the three. But if those three would agree to follow the law, give up being a sanctuary city, and just do the right thing. Let's quit protecting criminals. I mean, that's what it all boils down to. It doesn't boil down to tactics. It doesn't boil down to riots. It boils down to let's uphold the rule of the law. You may not like the fact that ICE is going after illegals, but that's the law. That's what their job is. And as much as you don't like that, go vote for your person next time. We voted for Donald Trump, who said that he was going to clean that up.
Not just we, over half of the country voted for Donald Trump.
Absolutely. And well, that's actually what I meant. I didn't just mean you and I, but great point. And so that's what the country wanted, was to clean things up. And basically, I look at it as a big temper tantrum. That's kind of what Minnesota is a big temper tantrum. And I like that suggestion right there too. You guys step down, we'll bring ICE out. You know, there's got to be the normal deployment of ICE. I mean, Minneapolis is a large city, and there's a large population of illegals there. But, you know, somebody said this today, and I fully agree with them. You notice the craziest of the riots started at almost the exact same time the fraud investigation started.
Yeah.
Not many.
A lot of people are not seeing that.
A lot of people have quit talking about fraud and are now talking about riots, ICE, dead people. And how does that work? You tell me, Ronnie.
You know, it's another what is it, a red flag event or a black flag event or something like that, where it's you know, hey, this is massive, but don't look at this, look over here, because you know this is sexier and this is juicier, and you know, we can sit here and we can go round and round and round about, you know, Renee Good and her decision, which we did for a little while, or this guy, I don't remember his first name, my apologies, his last name's Pretty, and his decisions. But the fact of the matter is you've got leadership in Minneapolis and Minnesota as a whole who are doing absolutely nothing, no leadership whatsoever, other than trying to incite violence and riots. That to me is, you know, hey, don't look at all these millions of dollars in fraud where we screwed up. Look at all this other stuff, and it's absolutely sickening, because you don't expect your leadership to tell you to go out there and peacefully, you know, assemble and have your voice speak peacefully when you've got Governor Fry, Mayor Fry, twinkle toes, foul mouth, saying, you know, on national television before Renee Good's body was even cold, F ICE. Now, what do you think that's going to do, man? Hold your own personal opinions. You're here to lead. You're here to change the lives of Minnesotans and make it better. That's what you were hired and elected and hired to do. And how are you making that better by allowing this autonomous zone, allowing these protesters to consistently throw bottles and rocks and impede federal law enforcement from doing their job? What we need is leadership in Minneapolis and Minnesota and the Attorney General's office and the chief of police and anybody else to actually go out there and lower the volume. Them getting in front of the world and saying F ICE or anything like that is not lowering the temperature. It's bringing it up.
Let's listen to this guy.
If Renee Good or George Floyd had been murdered by illegal aliens, you probably wouldn't even know their names. Hey, did you know that only 7% of all media identifies as Republican? Wait a second, you don't think that a biased media might be using these people's lives to manufacture political outrage? Surely not.
Oh, ding, ding, ding.
Point.
Well, and I've said that too. You know, how many times have the rioters brought up the name Laken Riley? They haven't, because they don't know the name, because they didn't pay any attention.
And they don't care. They don't care, and then they never will. You know,
and here's the other thing.
Go ahead.
Well, I wish the pawns in this would realize they're being used as pawns and say, I'm sick of that. You know, they're being used as pawns. Listen to this video. This is a good one too.
Well, there it is. One of the leaders for the Signal Group that's organizing these protests in Minneapolis is a campaign strategist for Tim Walz, because of course she is. Democrats have manufactured yet another issue, farmed it out to the public, this supposed outrage over ICE, and now they're organizing protests, trying to drag our country into a civil flippin' war because they didn't get their way. The people got their way. We won twice. Democrats, this is what we voted for. This is what the majority of Americans overwhelmingly voted for, and no fake stories about 5-year-olds are going to change that. The GOP needs to get in there and go scorched earth. We need to nuke the filibuster. We need to pass the SAVE Act. We need to invoke the Insurrection Act. And we needed to shut down this entire sham insurrection up there in Minnesota, instigated by Tim Walz and company for the sole purpose of covering up massive massive amounts of fraud. Because that's what this is, and it's disgusting. They're trying to cover up their involvement in the fraud scandal by mushrooming a protest movement into a broader insurrection against the federal government. I'm just going to go out on a limb and suggest that just like Keith Ellison had a hand in that Don Lemon-aided church storming, that this woman is not going to be the only person tied back to Tim Walz who's helping organize these protests, this insurrection.
I guess we're not the only ones that think that way.
I thought this country had learned its lesson after Portland and George Floyd and all that, but obviously not. But you know what I find funny is that was Donald Trump's presidency as well, that this kind of thing happened. We sit here and we can talk about the leadership basically fueling and pushing and causing this kind of thing. We've talked about this before. Maxine Waters, and if you see them at a restaurant or at a gasoline station, you get in their face. And Michelle Obama's, and we know when they go high, we go low, or when they go low, we go high, or whatever. It's all the same thing. At no point did I ever see any kind of Democrat leadership step up and say, hey, give them a chance, guys. We lost fair and square. Better luck in 4 years. Give them a chance. The only one that I've really seen do anything similar is Senator from Pennsylvania, shorts and hoodie. His name just
Fetterman.
Fetterman, yes. Yeah. He's actually been pulling so far away from the left, the Democrat side. He may not be reelected, but or elected anything else.
It took a stroke to get him there.
Right. Unfortunately, I mean, he had a stroke. He came back and he. I mean, how many times he said, "Hey guys, give him a chance," and that's the kind of I did not like him. I thought he was disrespectful. This whole shorts and a hoodie bullcrap, man. You're elected to public office. Put a suit and tie on, but it's old fashioned to me. Like the captain on Star Trek, you don't lounge in the captain's chair. You sit straight up, and that's why I don't like the new Star Trek. But anyways, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We're not going to go down that, right? But I did not care for him one bit. I thought, he didn't deserve that position. But man, I'm really starting to. I like his stuff, and we need more people like that. He wouldn't allow this kind of crap to go on. He wouldn't stand there and say F ICE or, go out there and do what Minnesotans are good at doing. And, come on, man.
Stealing from the federal government.
Speaking of that, I do have one little short clip. And if you've been on social media at any point in the last, 5 days, you've seen this Harris-esque word salad.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. People don't really see, like, it's people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Well, my goodness, that young lady has opened my eyes. Bananas and rice. Makes complete sense.
Was that Kamala with, the burqa or, whatever those things are called?
Well, like I said, Harris-esque. I mean, she may be her sister or whatever, but her whole speech of bananas and rice. Boy, that did good. It's really I'm really pro-Somalian now. Hey, give these guys a chance. Bananas and rice sold me.
Huh.
Like you and I and Trevor have talked about earlier, it's and we've had episodes where we've done this before, where it's more solemn and more, hey, we love doing what we're doing, reporting the news, bringing you videos, but sometimes you just kind of have an episode where it's kind of like, maybe we don't laugh as much, maybe we don't crack as much jokes, but you know, I was trying to explain to him, I'm the kind of guy that gets people to laugh at a funeral, because if we're laughing, we're not fighting. You know, if we're laughing, we're not hating. So my apologies if I've come across as a little bit too much of a comedian here, but I always try to make people laugh at a funeral, because if they're laughing, they're not crying, and I just want to give everybody. I mean, if anybody wants to laugh at me, go right ahead, but I'll crack jokes with you. So, but you know, we need to cool everything down. That's the whole first 44 minutes of this show is things are out of control, and we can keep sitting here saying people are going to get hurt, people are going to get hurt, people are going to hurt, people got hurt, people are still getting hurt. Do you want more of it? Yeah, dude, you know what I mean, dude. We've seen Spokane from Fast Time at Ridgemont High. I barely remember that movie. That's been forever since I've seen that. Oh my gosh.
Their version of a word salad.
Word salad. Gotcha. Yeah. Bananas and rice.
We do have some headlines to cover, and
we do.
Well, maybe.
Well, I tell you what, I've got two, actually all three I really want to cover. So yeah, let's jump into some headline news.
Well, my first story, I jumped the gun a little bit because I wanted to play the video about a person that has been known, part of the she was a strategist for Tim Walz in the past. Her name is Amanda Kohler, and she's been linked in reporting to and online records to activist communication and organizing networks in Minneapolis. Exactly what we were talking about. She may not go under the title of Antifa, but it doesn't matter what title you have. It matters what you're doing. No major news outlet or official source has verified that she holds or held an official strategist role with Walz, but I always say, you know, when there's smoke, you probably ought to check to see if there's fire. And I think that goes along with that. Walz's office has not confirmed a connection. Investigations remain focused on actions and not political labels. And that's what it should be, actions. And if she is stirring the pot, then she needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'll let the law enforcement officials decide what that is. Back to you, Ronnie.
So you know that this is something we've seen, and we're going to keep seeing more of. A sniper with a terminal illness can't be a big ask. Woman big ask with a K. Woman recruited people to pursue and assassinate President Trump. You know, I understand this is serious, but forgive me for a minute. As I was typing this up, I actually stopped and looked at Alice, and I said the word assassinate has the word ass in it twice, and then I almost said it while reading the headline. A 39-year-old woman in West Virginia is accused of threatening to assassinate Donald Trump, allegedly pursuing a social media campaign aimed at recruiting individuals for the purpose of killing the president. Morgan Lee Morrow was taken into custody on Sunday and charged with one felony count of making terroristic threats, records reviewed by Law and Crime Show. According to news released from Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the arrest followed a detailed investigation into Morrow conducted by sheriff's detectives and the Jackson County Bureau of Investigations. Authorities say they have evidence showing that in Ripley, West Virginia, woman used social media networking platforms to recruit, quote, individuals to pursue and assassinate President Donald Trump. The sheriff's office did not disclose many details about the investigation into Morrow, but emphasized that the agency's post announcing her arrest was not meant to be politically orientated statement. This is an active criminal investigation with documented and troubling concerns in the release dates. Morrow was transported and booked into the South Central Regional Jail. A bond amount has not been set as of Monday morning. So this fine young woman made this statement that, a sniper with a terminal illness is not. Come on. The right didn't do this. The right did not do this when Joe Biden was president or Obama or anybody.
No.
But back to you, sir.
Nigeria. If you remember, several weeks ago, we dropped some bombs on dudes that practice terrorism, the old ISIS scumbags that continue to pop their heads up. Well, I got an email today from ACLJ, American Center for Law and Justice, and it says heartache grips Nigeria once again as the new year begins with ongoing massacres and mass abductions. The email was to ask for a donation because that's how ACLJ operates. They are about to, and maybe did later today after this email come in, going to the United Nations with information. Jihadists have already murdered 35 people in January after slaughtering 58 Christians in the days immediately following Christmas. So between 90 and 100 people since Christmas. Horror deepens. Just days ago, over 175 Christians were abducted from their churches. ISIS-aligned terrorists stormed 3 separate congregations at once. Over 160 of those 175 remain in the hands of jihadists. Outrageously, Nigerian authorities denied the kidnappings altogether, confirming a warning that the Nigerian government openly denies the massacre and genocide of Christians in Nigeria. I guess I have to question a little bit what the purpose of the bombing that we did there was for. Because we bombed and nobody's heard anything about Nigeria since. We've been distracted with every other thing in the world. They kidnap Christians and hold them for ransom, and they kill, they ransom, they do other things. But we're going to keep, as I have for several years, talking about persecuted Christians, and we focus a lot of times on Nigeria, and we're not going to stop doing that. That's who we are. Ronnie, you got another one?
I sure do. I'm going to move us out of the way here. This little booger right here, a vivid blue shape blooming across new satellite images, has jolted researchers who spend their careers scanning for subtle changes, not cinematic spectacles. What first looked like a sensor glitch has instead sharpened into a massive coherent object large enough to rival a city footprint and bright enough in key wavelengths to demand immediate attention. As I followed the data and the scientists racing to interpret it, the picture that emerges is less a single mystery than a convergence of planetary and interstellar alarms. The object's color and scale echo other recent blue anomalies, from collapsing forests to degenerating ice. Not ice as in immigration's custom enforcement, but ice as in what we've got all over the ground outside. And they arrive just as astronomers are tracking together a Manhattan-sized visitor from deep space, yet again. Taken together, these signals are forcing experts to reassess how quickly Earth's systems are changing and how prepared we are for surprises that arrive both from above and from within our own climate. I'm not going to read the rest of that because it goes into forests for some reason and not this mysterious blue dot. Here is another picture. And these are obviously taken from satellites and telescopes. And I had another one that kind of shows where this is actually in a scale to Earth, and it's not even in our galaxy. It is outside of our galaxy, but big enough and bright enough to, I guess, show up and cause issues. So we will bring you more of that as it progresses. Back to you.
Well, there was good news in Israel today, tempered good news, as the one remaining hostage that was in control of Hamas his body has been returned. They knew that the young man I think he died on day one. They brought his body into Gaza, and he was the last one to be returned. Now, I heard on TV in Israel, they were talking about how, when they brought bodies back and they just buried them, it may or may not have been Hamas's intent to prolong things, but logistically, they weren't sure where everybody was that they buried. And so Israel confirmed through DNA testing and those kind of things that the remains were from the one man that was unaccounted for, so to speak. Again, they knew he was dead. And with that, it is the first time since 2014, I didn't know this, first time since 2014 that there were no Israelis held in Gaza. Zero.
Wow.
Not since 2023, but since 2014.
Wow.
So
that's good news.
That's my headlines for tonight.
All right. My last one. Knife-wielding nut allegedly asks Christian his religion, then stabbed him and his dog before police shoot him. An armed Washington man was the knife-wielding nut was their headline, not mine. An armed Washington man was shot and killed by police after authorities say he stabbed a man and the victim's dog, attacking them moments after asking the victim which religion he practiced. The incident unfolded just before 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday when a man called 911 to report that he had been stabbed by an unknown man near the local SS Quick Stop grocer in Parkland. The Pierce County Pierce County Sheriff's Office said in a social media post. When officers arrived, the victim and his dog were both in serious condition. According to authorities, the victim reported what the unknown man approached him and asked him what religion he was. The victim answered the man and said something about being Christian, and the man attacked and stabbed the victim and his dog before being transported to the hospital. The victim was able to give a description of the male subject, resulting in a police searching the area for several hours. The victim's dog was subsequently transported to a local animal hospital where it was immediately taken into surgery. Approximately 2 hours later, a deputy noticed the suspect on the 800 block of 112th Street and pursued him as he fled behind a nearby house. The armed suspect then advanced towards deputies who fired on him. So, didn't think about how I placed that one, but that kind of ended on a sad note. But the man and his dog are okay. Not the knife-wielding nut. Their words, not mine. And that was headline news. You got something else?
Well, I do have something.
Yes. Sergeant D's Coffee Beans. Very big thank you to a friend of mine, Mr. Darren Nuss. So he was actually just running a campaign ad on Facebook to get 500 followers, and then somebody would get a free bag of coffee. I meant to mention that. I was not feeling well on Saturday. I did not get to mention it. But congratulations to Sergeant D's Coffee Beans. They have gotten over 500 likes on their Facebook page. Each and every one of you need to go out there and like it as well. Good coffee, good dude, veteran owned. SergeantD's.com or Sergeant D's Coffee on the Facebooks, I suppose. So thank you, Mr. Darren Ness, for being our first actual corporate sponsor right here on Red, White, and True. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's headline news.
All right. Yeah, we get so involved in things. Headline news has been coming way late in the program,
Right.
but and I know that you feel the same way. I know Trevor feels the same way. We call for calmness.
Yeah.
We call for peace. I mean, you guys know us. We're pro law enforcement. We're pro military. We're Christian conservatives, and we're the people that the left likes to hate. There's not one of the names that I mentioned or anybody that I know that is rejoicing over death in Minneapolis. Not in the least. Don't take what we say about following the law and things like that as hate towards those that have lost their lives, because that is just not accurate. You don't get to, well, you can accuse all you want, but you don't get to make the decision on who I hate and who I don't hate, who I want to die and who I don't want to die. I can tell you my thoughts on that, and those are my thoughts. You can make accusations against me. You can make accusations against Ronnie. You can make accusations against everybody that you want to, but you don't get the final say. God knows our hearts. God knows that we want peace. We want the rule of the law followed, and that should bring peace. Our outro tonight is a prayer that I did in the last podcast we did, the one I did solo. And so I'm not going to pray before we go, Ronnie, but give your thoughts on what we would like to see in Minneapolis.
Like you said it perfectly. We want things to follow the rule of law. All these people stand with their immigrant neighbors, and I would as well if they did things the correct way. Now, every demographic has, how do I put this? Not their undesirables, but they're the criminals, the mischief makers, the ones that are out to screw with the system and everybody else. So I'm not sitting here and telling you every single immigrant from Mexico is a criminal or a rapist or a drug dealer or a murderer or anything like that. I'm not saying that, because everybody, every racial demographic has that. But these ICE agents aren't going to schools and ripping children out, opposed to popular belief. They're not going to the malt shop and oh, hey, you're brown, and grabbing them and taking them out. These guys are going after convicted criminals. Migrant work crews, guys standing outside of Home Depot are terrified. ICE has bigger fish to fry than Juan, Pablo, and Jesus, who just want to, cut your grass. So if everybody, everywhere followed the rules, then there would be no crime, there would be no murder, there would be, and everything would be easier. So, I want let ICE do their jobs. They're not. People are crying, oh, well, they took this father away from his kids. Well, no, the father took the father away from his kids. It would be the same as if I picked up a gun and went next door and shot the neighbor, and I was arrested and convicted and sent to prison. The police didn't take me away from my little girl sitting here. I took me away from my little girl sitting here. There's no one else to blame but myself. All it boils down to is Orange Man bad. And it doesn't matter what policy he creates or what thing he wants to have happen. The $1,700 or when when Donald Trump got up before Christmas and gave every service member $1,776,
Mm-hmm.
that very moment, there were people online complaining about that. He's giving service members money, and they were complaining and fighting and bitching. It's just, to me, it doesn't matter what that man does. Orange man bad. Look at the numbers. Of course, there wasn't really many deportations under Joe Biden, but look at Obama. How many deportations did Obama do compared to what Donald Trump has done? But they didn't argue and complain about that. They didn't set up autonomous zones on that. Peace in Minneapolis. Let ICE do their jobs, and then they'll be gone. They will move on to the next city. Do you think that ICE wants to stand around at barricades while you throw bottles at them and beat on drums and cuss and swear in their face? Let ICE do their jobs. Let them get these people who have committed crimes, hurt, raped, killed, sold drugs, brought in drugs that killed. Let them do their jobs. Let them do it safely. Just support law enforcement for a minute. You know, that's always been the thing. Firefighters are so good and cops are so bad. Well, when your house is on fire, you call 911, the fire department shows up and they extinguish the flames. But when you're driving down the road, hiring a kite or, drunk as a skunk, and the police pull you over and take you to jail, they're the bad guys. But nobody looks at it as they saved lives, because that drunk could have gone down another block down the road and smashed into a minivan full of kids. So that was a long spiel for your short question, and I apologize.
No,
ready to get along. That's it. I've got liberal friends, and we can get along, but 90% of the time it doesn't happen that way. It's always some kind of argument. I just want everybody to get along. Life is too short. This country is too great not to.
Don't you think it's ironic that we used to believe that the liberals were the kumbaya people and everything, let's all get along, and
diversity, tolerance.
I haven't heard any kumbaya at any of the riots.
No.
And
we were watching Agenda Free, and we had to mute it because of just how filthy it was. I mean, wow.
Well, not just filthy, but when they're beating on those things, I just can't take that. Yeah. I said to Trevor, I said, Steve must have his audio on mute, because it was just going on and on and on.
That and the whistles, they just didn't stop.
No.
Just didn't stop.
Well, thank you all for being with us. We love doing what we do. If you have somebody that you think would be a good sponsor for Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie, let us know. We'll check things out and see what we can do. And as always, we will be back whenever there is breaking news that we feel is important enough to break into your lives and spend some time covering it. Monday, Wednesday, and either Friday or Saturday. We've been doing either Friday or Saturday. All have been included. So Ronnie's work schedule has changed a little bit. We'll just have to see how that goes. We've talked before about possibly pushing things back to 8 o'clock. We may do that in the future, which isn't a bad thing, because we usually get better numbers the later it is. Because at 7 o'clock on the West Coast, what is that? 4 in the afternoon on the West Coast, and so people are driving in LA traffic at 4 o'clock, and not listening to Ed and Ronnie. So,
wow,
take us out of here.
I love this compliment right here. Great show. Love you guys, man. Bill and Tanya, I love you guys too. Great people. Always on here without fail. If they're not, then something's wrong, and I just not on my game and my mojo. So both very busy people, and we really appreciate you being here. Everybody else, Beth, Mary, Cisco. I'm missing anybody in the comments.
We had a lot of likes tonight.
We did, and we appreciate each and every single one of them. I almost want to do a campaign. We need to get some more likes.
Well, let me give a shout out to those: Mike Percival, Doug Fleming, Randy Lepettis, Karen Sharp, Steve Means, Norma Strain, Bill and Tanya Jenkins, and Mike Cisco Sisk.
Yeah. Randy, I saw him actually this afternoon as I was taking the animal control van back downtown, and he was telling me about the snowplow that over by his house, which is just right nearby. It had gone off the road, got stuck, smoked the telephone poles or a light post, something like that.
Oh,
so, yeah, crazy stuff. But thank you, each and every one of you out there that watches us. Keep us in your prayers because we're expanding, trying to do better, get everybody else better. We love what we do, like Pastor Ed said. We appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate Sergeant D's Coffee Beans as our very first sponsor. And like the good man says, please go out and do the right thing.
The right thing.
And we urge Democrat senators to vote to reopen the government and to do the right thing.